Assalomu alaykum, hurmatli UZREPORT telekanali tomoshabinlari, webinar ishtirokchilari hamda tashkilotchilari. Turizmni rivojlantirish davlat qo'mitasi hamda Singapurda joylashgan Crescent Rating tashkiloti hamkorligida tashkil etilgan webinarimizni jonli ravishda boshlaymiz. Webinarimizda Toshkentdan Turizmni rivojlantirish davlat qo'mitasining rais o'rinbosari Ulug'bek A'zamov, Singapurdan Crescent Rating agentligining bosh ijrochi direktori hamda webinarimizning asosiy ishtirokchisi Fazal Bahardin janoblari Zoom tarmog'i orqali onlayn qatnashmoqdalar. Shuningdek, bizni O'zbekiston Islom akademiyasi, Toshkent davlat iqtisodiyot universiteti hamda Samarqand shahridagi Ipak yo'li turizm xalqaro universitetining turizm yo'nalishi bo'yicha o'qituvchilari va talabalari hamda halol turizm yo'nalishi bo'yicha faoliyat olib borayotgan turizm sohasi vakillari ham kuzatib bormoqdalar. Studiyada esa O'zbekiston Musulmonlari idorasi huzuridagi Muslim Tur turistik tashkilotining direktori Jahongir Salomov hamda men Turizmni rivojlantirish davlat qo'mitasi bo'lim boshlig'i, halol turizm bo'yicha mutaxassis Saidkomil Xolxo'jayev ishtirok etmoqdamiz. Webinarimizning asosiy qismi ingliz tilida bo'ladi. Dastlab tashkilotchilarning nutqlari va taqdimotlari ko'rsatiladi. So'ngra teletomoshabinlarimiz va webinarimiz ishtirokchilari yordamida savol-javob qismiga o'tamiz. Savollaringizni Telegramdagi ziyorat webinar manzili orqali o'zbek yoki ingliz tilida berishingiz mumkin bo'ladi. Webinarimizni yakunlagandan so'ng o'zbek tiliga tarjima qilgan holda uni Turizmni rivojlantirish davlat qo'mitasining rasmiy veb sahifasi va ijtimoiy tarmoqlariga joylashtiramiz. Demak, webinarimizni boshlash uchun so'zni Turizmni rivojlantirish davlat qo'mitasi raisining o'rinbosari Ulug'bek A'zamov janoblariga beramiz. Marhamat, Ulug'bek aka, assalomu alaykum.
Assalomu alaykum. Dear distinguished speakers, friends and participants of today's forum webinar. On behalf of the State Committee of the Republic of Uzbekistan for Tourism Development, I would like to welcome you all and thank the organizers and Mr. Fazal Bahardin for his initiative to discuss the Ziyarat tourism market and the potential of the Muslim travel market for Uzbekistan. I also thank UZREPORT TV channel for their support and goodwill to broadcast this important event through television and other channels. We are strong believers that Uzbekistan has huge and untapped opportunities in the Muslim travel market. In 2019, we received over 6.7 million international visitors, and 5.9 million of that, or 87%, came from Muslim majority countries. It is pleasing to mention that the country saw significant increase in the number of arrivals from such countries as Turkey, Malaysia, Indonesia, and the United Arab Emirates. At the same time, the government of Uzbekistan has taken several measures both to develop the tourism infrastructure for Muslim travelers, as well as to promote its tourism potential in Muslim travel market. Our efforts were acknowledged by Crescent Rating, one of the leading organizations in the Muslim travel market. Uzbekistan has improved its position in Global Muslim Travel Index from 32 to 22 in 2019. Our commitment to resurrect the Islamic heritage sites and develop Ziyarat tourism in Uzbekistan was also recognized as new trend in Muslim travel market by Crescent Rating. Since 2019, we have realized several projects with this organization, starting from conducting training to tourism specialists to rating and certification of Muslim-friendly hotels. We look forward to the continuation of our successful partnership. And I hope this webinar will be useful for all of us and help us to better understand the Muslim travel market. Thank you for your attention. Rahmat.
Tashakkur. Darhaqiqat, mamlakatimizning ziyorat turizmi salohiyati keng bo'lib, buni xalqaro ekspertlar va musulmon sayyohlar e'tirof etishmoqda. Yurtimizga kelayotgan xorijiy sayyohlarning asosiy qismi musulmon mamlakatlarga to'g'ri keladi. Hamda musulmon mamlakatlaridan kelayotgan sayyohlarning soni jadal ravishda oshib bormoqda. Ammo pandemiya davrida va undan keyingi vaziyat qanday bo'ladi? Bu savolga javob olish uchun muloqotga halol turizm bo'yicha dunyoda yetakchi ekspertlardan biri bo'lgan Crescent Rating agentligi hamda Halol Trip internet portalining asoschisi va bosh ijrochi direktori Fazal Bahardin janoblarini taklif etamiz. Ular hozirda Singapurda turib biz bilan Zoom orqali muloqotga chiqadilar. Assalomu alaykum, Mr. Fazal. Welcome to our webinar. Thank you for your cooperation and interest in organizing this webinar. We really want to know how things in Muslim travel market are going on. How did COVID-19 pandemic affect the global Muslim travel market? Why Muslim travel market is so important for us, and how can Uzbekistan benefit from this market? Please share with us your thoughts as an expert in this travel market, please. Mr. Fazal, a little bit louder, please. Louder,
Yeah,
please.
so let's get started.
Yeah. Biz hozir jonli efirdamiz. Biroz uzilishlar yoki ulanishlarda muammolar bo'lib turishi mumkin. Ulug'bek Azamov Turizmni rivojlantirish davlat qo'mitasi raisi aytib o'tganlaridek, Turizmni rivojlantirish davlat qo'mitasi bilan Crescent Rating tashkiloti o'rtasida 2019-yilda aloqalar o'rnatilgan. Bu aloqalar asosida O'zbekistonda ziyorat turizm infrastrukturasini rivojlantirish va uni keng targ'ib qilish bo'yicha turli loyihalar amalga oshirganmiz. 2019-yil avgust oyida aynan shu vebinarning birinchi bosqichini amalga oshirganmiz. Unda Turizmni rivojlantirish davlat qo'mitasi va halol turizm bo'yicha ekspertlardan 30 nafar o'zbekistonlik ekspertlar qatnashishgan. 13 nafari xalqaro darajadagi halol turizm bo'yicha mutaxassis sertifikatini qo'lga kiritishgan. Bundan tashqari Crescent Rating tashkiloti bilan birgalikda turizm xizmatlarini sertifikatlashtirish markazi o'rtasida aloqalar o'rnatilgan bo'lib, bu aloqalar natijasida bugungi kunda tashkilot O'zbekistonda joylashgan halol turizm obyektlarini reyting baholash va sertifikatlash bo'yicha xizmatlarini joriy qilgan. Bugungi asosiy seminarimizning asosiy maqsadi ham mana shu halol turizm bo'yicha turli savollarga javob berish hisoblanadi. Marhamat. Assalomu alaykum.
Very good afternoon. It gives me great pleasure to be back talking to an audience in Uzbekistan.
Ovozimiz
Had the pleasure to visit Uzbekistan a few times last year and hope to, inshallah, visit next
Hello.
year as well. First of all, I would like to thank the Uzbek Tourism Committee and also Uzbek Report TV for making this happen, making this webinar happen. Today, so as we started this, today I'm going to talk about the Muslim travel market beyond COVID-19. Of course, currently we are all struggling with this COVID-19 issue, but we also should not forget that it is a time to look at what will come beyond COVID-19, and definitely a Muslim market is a huge opportunity for Uzbekistan to start looking at. But before I talk about the opportunity that is available around the Muslim market and what Uzbekistan should look at and could do, we also need to understand what's going on right now. Right up to last year, tourism was one of the industries which was growing well. Our concerns were about sustainable tourism, overcrowding, yield. So that was what was keeping us busy up until COVID came about in early 2020, which completely and dramatically changed the issues that we had to come to terms with. Today we are struggling with this pandemic for some time now. We are worried about how, lockdowns, economies have been impacted hugely, jobs have been impacted hugely, and also we are also not very sure when we will get back to some level of normalcy, whether it's going to be 2021, hopefully so. But even if it gets going to get to some level of normalcy in 2021, what are our challenges then? We have to look at how do we rebuild visitor confidence, how do we restore trust among the visitors. Safety and health are becoming a key issue as well. So all these are now, as I said, from being worried about over-tourism and overcrowding in 2019, our worries have shifted massively to the pandemic, and also beyond the pandemic, how do we rebuild our tourism sector? We also have looked at, different phases of growth, which will help us to, plan better our future strategies. So we have identified 4 phases that we are going through right now through this pandemic. First was the containment phase, where there were, in many parts of the world, there were very restricted movement. There was lockdowns when COVID was really at its peak. It is still having, some countries are still having similar issues. They are still in containment phase, but most countries have come up to what we call a recovery phase, where services are gradually opening up, I think including Uzbekistan. Domestic travel is slowly opening up as well, and hopefully we hope that we can then move on to the normalization phase, which is going to be very much driven by the news about cure for COVID. I think there are many news out there, and hopefully something will come up, and that will also help us to normalize the growth phase. And also this will then lead to probably regional travel, and then we could then move on to a real growth phase. When I say growth, within the context of the current situation, where international travel activity increases, there's optimism back again in the tourism industry. Having said that, this is not as clear as this. It's not. There's no guarantee that we go from containment to recovery, and then recovery to normalization and the growth. I mean, we have seen in many parts of the world, they were in containment and moved to recovery, and they're going back in some places to containment. But this is the overall sort of phases that we have identified. But what this means also is that for places like Uzbekistan, where they are pretty much in the recovery phase now, planning to move into other phases, this is really the time to prepare for the next stage of growth. And Muslim market is definitely a market to look at, and I'm going to talk a little bit about why so. Yeah, so I think it's definitely the right time to look at how, which markets that you're going to focus on as things are getting better. And I think for Uzbekistan, Muslim market should be one of those markets that you should look at. One of the reasons, as I mentioned, why Muslim market, but we have been releasing reports since 2012. Since 2012, and we have been projecting the Muslim market growth for the last 12 years. Our estimates were in year 2000 there were 25 million travelers, and we estimated that in 2018 there were 140 million travelers, and 2020 we projected 160 million travelers. However, of course, as we know, this is definitely not going to be the case because of the current COVID crisis that we are facing. Having said that, beyond 2020, 2026, is it going to be 230 million? Maybe, maybe not. But one thing is for sure, that it will grow. Muslim market is one of the markets which will continue to grow within the context of the growth that we are looking at post-COVID. Why so? Because I think one of the key elements to look at is, of course, the Muslim population. Because by 2030, Muslim population will be 2.3 billion. That's almost 27-28% of the world's population. So that number itself shows us the huge potential of the Muslim market as a consumer market. And also importantly, the Muslim market is a younger population. They are the median age of Muslim population around the world is 27, and more than 60% of them are under the age of below 35 years. So this is an ideal scenario. It's a growing population, a younger population, and also in countries like bigger Muslim population like Indonesia, Turkey, the GCC countries, there is a huge growth of the middle class. So all this means that Muslim market, consumer market, and specifically travel market is a growth sector that Uzbekistan can look into. So how do we prepare for this market? So I think one way is to look at how we rank countries in our Global Muslim Travel Index. Global Muslim Travel Index is an annual index that we release every year since 2015. In 2020, we didn't release it yet. Normally, we release it in the month of April, May. Because of the COVID situation, we have pushed back that release to maybe end of this year. But in this report, we rank 130 countries on how Muslim friendly they are, based on what we call the ACES criteria. What is the ACES criteria? So ACES criteria, we look at 4 areas. One is the access. So how easy is to get to the country in terms of visa, connectivity, transport, infrastructure, and all that. How is the country communicating and educating, communicating, reaching out, both internally and externally regarding this market. Then number 3, we look at the environment. So environment in terms of safety, in terms of restrictions for Muslim travelers. For instance, are there any restrictions for female Muslim travelers in terms of dress codes and things like that? And then most importantly, we look at the services, especially for Muslim travelers. So in terms of services, what we call, there are core needs, which is halal food and prayer facility. This is probably the most important thing. And these needs around the core services like hotels and airports. How are hotels and airports catering to these kind of needs? So I think this is this is how we rank countries. So we look at, although this is showing only about 12, 13 subjects, we look at almost 40 data points to rank countries. So this gives an idea of what areas that each country can look at to improve on to target the Muslim market. When it comes to core needs, I think, which is probably the most important part that we need to look at, we have identified what we call the Muslim traveler faith-based needs template, where we have categorized them into 3 categories: need to have, good to have, and nice to have. When it comes to need to have, we are looking at the availability of halal food services, prayer facilities, whether you have water in your toilets, of course, no Islamophobia in the country. So these are the 4 things that we have identified as need to have. And then we have good to have and nice to have features as well. But I think really concentrating on the need to have and some of these good to have services, by concentrating on that, itself, you will be able to achieve a lot in making the Muslim travelers' journey in the country worry-free. So importantly also, these services that I have been talking about in terms of Muslim traveler faith-based needs, we need to have these services and features across all key touch points of a journey. So in terms of transport, in terms of like airports and railway stations, because these are the key touch points the traveler is traveling. And for instance, you are in the airport, the prayer time comes. If you don't have a prayer room, then of course you will not be able to pray properly. You'll have to find some place to pray. If you don't have halal food, then it becomes a problem as well. And then of course the accommodation sector, hotels and villas and resorts, this is another sector that needs to make sure that these kind of faith-based needs are catered to in these services. And also importantly, of course, the visitors come to the destination to go to the attractions, do shopping, enjoy the nature. So these kind of services also need to be Muslim friendly. So we need to make sure that these facilities and services also provide these kind of services. So all in all, we need to make sure that these kind of faith-based needs are covered across all these touch points, so that the journey from airport back to the airport of a traveler, especially a Muslim traveler, will be worry-free. So when I say worry-free, when a visitor comes to the country, they don't have to be worried about, where to find halal food to eat, where to pray. So these are taken care of, so they can enjoy the destination, in terms of their attractions and in terms of their, shopping and adventure and things like that. So where does Uzbekistan stand in our ranking? So if I just picked up the 2019 rankings here. You can go back and download our reports from 2015 and see how Uzbekistan has evolved through the years in our ranking. So we have Uzbekistan has been probably ranked around the 30 to 40 range in the last few years, but in 2019 Uzbekistan improved a lot in its ranking. And if you see here that within the overall ranking, Uzbekistan is ranking number 22. Within the OIC countries, it's ranking number 18. So this is pretty good. But I think Uzbekistan, with the rich heritage and rich culture that it has, it could really target to be ranked in the top 4 or 5 countries around the world to be a Muslim-friendly destination, and to be ranked in the top 4 or 5 countries in the Global Muslim Travel Index. I think that's a reasonable target to have for Uzbekistan, having what Uzbekistan has in its destination. So huge opportunity for Uzbekistan to look at, and as I said, this is a good time to really look at this market segment when everybody is trying to find out what could be the next phase of travel after COVID-19. I said that last time when I came to Uzbekistan as well. Uzbekistan has something unique that not many countries in the world have. It has it is known as the foremost centers of knowledge and learning in the Islamic history. Some of the most well-known names come from that part of the world. Imam Bukhari, Imam Muslim. There are so many names out there. The scientists of that age, including people like Ibn Sina, that we made a video also with the State Committee for Tourism. So there's so much of rich history to showcase to the world. Not only history but also architecture. I think it's an amazing architecture that Uzbekistan has, and then building around those history and architecture activities will definitely interest Muslim travelers. It's a destination that a lot of Muslim travelers are not aware of, and I think building on what you have will help you to promote the destination to Muslims much better. So in terms of what should be done, so these are the 3 things that we have been doing in many parts of the world to help businesses, countries, destinations, cities to target the Muslim market. The most important one to start with, of course, is the education. So education is key. Although sometimes you are a Muslim country, you still are not fully aware of the needs of the many different types of Muslims who are out there. Although Muslims have a lot of shared habits and behavior, it also depends where they come from. There are also differences based on where they are coming from, based on their culture. So I think education is key in order to cater to the Muslim market. So you need to understand what are the basics of Muslims' requirements, but also what are the differences if they are coming from different parts of the world. So that's where we have also built our Crescent Rating Academy, where we have developed a lot of training programs for the industry, including some online programs in Uzbek language. The second part of what we do, of course, is to help in capacity and capability building. So this is where you're building your products, your services, specifically to target the Muslim market. And also importantly, when it comes to Crescent Rating, we have also built a rating and accreditation system so that you can validate your services. Not only validate, but also benchmark the services. So it's validation of your services, whether they are Muslim friendly or halal friendly. And also by validating and benchmarking, you can also promote these establishments better to the Muslim travelers, both when they are in the country and also more importantly when they are doing the research before they come. So if you're saying, look, this establishment is definitely halal, they provide halal food, there are mosques in this place. So all these things in terms of validation, in terms of benchmarking and making this visible for travelers who are planning to travel to Uzbekistan will go a long way in terms of making it comfortable for them to visit the destination. And the third part of the efforts that we do in terms of helping destinations is marketing and promotion. I mean, even when you have done education, you have done accreditation and rating and certification, you still need to promote the country to the rest of the world, to the rest of the Muslim market. So we have been doing a lot of work with many countries in promoting their facilities and services to the Muslim market. And interestingly, most of these countries are not necessarily Muslim majority countries. There are many countries like Hong Kong, Japan, Korea, that we ourselves have been working as well, but they are doing a lot of work to target the Muslim market, and they are promoting themselves to the Muslim market as a very Muslim friendly destination. So these are some of the things that I wanted to share with you. First of all, yes, we are struggling with COVID, but inshallah we'll get through that. While we are managing this situation, we need to also look at what's post-COVID, and one of the markets, especially for Uzbekistan, we need to really look at the Muslim market because of what you have. How do you look at the Muslim market? As I said, look at these three areas: education, capacity and capability building, and marketing and promotion. So that's in a nutshell what I wanted to share. And I'll be happy to take your questions after this in our Q&A session. Thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to your feedback and your questions. So let's get started on the questions. Thank you. Assalomu alaykum.
Assalom. Demak, biz hozir Fazal Bahardin ishtirokida dunyo bo'ylab musulmon turizmining ahvoli, pandemiyadan keyin qanday tiklanishi bo'yicha tavsiyalari hamda O'zbekistonning musulmon turizmi salohiyatiga o'rni va nimalarga e'tibor qaratishi mumkinligi haqida ma'lumotlarni oldik. Endi biz savol-javoblar qismiga o'tsak bo'ladi. Demak, birinchi savolimiz bizda Termiz davlat universitetining geografiya o'qituvchisi To'rayev Quvonchbekdan kelgan ekan. Demak, ingliz tilida. Mr. Fazal? Hello.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Can you hear us? Yeah. The first question is from To'rayev Quvonchbek, a geography teacher at Termiz State University, an independent researcher. He's asking two questions, and I think they are general questions. So the question one is, what should be considered when organizing religious tourism routes? The second question is, what are the criteria for assessing the impact of religious tourism on the economic development of regions? I think the question is, understand?
Yeah. So I think, yes, I think we have to be careful in using the word religious tourism, because when we are talking about tourism for the Muslim market, there are probably two aspects to it. One is that Muslims are coming to Uzbekistan to see the heritage of Islamic heritage in Uzbekistan, to see, to experience, to see, like Imam Buhari's place and things like that. And then, of course, some are coming maybe to much more what we call maybe religious experience, maybe. But generally, I think Muslims all over the world are going for mostly for a holiday. So I think what we are trying to say is that, I don't know whether you want to call this a religious tourism, because in our vocabulary we say religious tourism is when people are going to Makkah and Medina. It's not tourism, religious trips. So I think we should be careful in how we position this tourism in Uzbekistan. In my opinion, we don't need to position as religious tourism, because some people will say, what is religious tourism in Uzbekistan? I think we have to position clearly as experiencing Islamic heritage, which is different from religious tourism per se. Of course, we can call it ziyarah tourism and all that, but I think we have to be very careful how we position this Uzbekistan as. We have to, I think, position Uzbekistan as one of the foremost center of knowledge in years past, that it was really a center of knowledge. And we see that history in Uzbekistan, and people want to, there are more and more Muslims who want to reconnect with their heritage. That's what the younger Muslims are looking for, because of all the negative experiences they're having around the world about Muslims. They want to reconnect with their heritage, which was very rich, So I think we have to be, first of all, I think we have to be careful in using the word religious tourism in this aspect. I think we need to find the right term in order to promote. And as I said, we need to, once we have that, as I think I mentioned last time as well, a lot of people don't know the rich history of, a lot of people know about Imam Buhari, but I can assure you there are many, many Muslims out there that they don't know. They know that Imam Buhari came from Bukhara, but they don't know Bukhara is in Uzbekistan. So I think it's about positioning correctly. It's very, very, very key. I don't think I answered the question as such, but I wanted to make sure that I think last time also I mentioned that when I came to Uzbekistan, I think we have to position it right. Positioning it right is so crucial.
So regarding the second question, what are the criteria for assessing the impact of religious tourism on the economic development of the regions? So how can
I think if I change the name, like let's replace religious tourism with Islamic Muslim tourists. If you change that name, Muslim tourism or Muslim travelers, as I mentioned in my presentation, it's a huge market. It is one of the most fast-growing markets before COVID. Of course, COVID has stopped all markets, but as I also showed, the population of Muslims in the world, that's not going to stop. It's at some point in time, by 2040, I think Muslims will be more than 30% of the world's population. It's not going to change, and they are young population. They are coming from many fast-growing economies. So I think it's a huge opportunity. The economic impact to Uzbekistan could be huge in terms of tapping into the Muslim market. So both in terms of creating jobs, creating innovation. I mean, this is a market, I think, which is still very new. So there are also not only getting more visitors, but also you can create what I call innovation in Uzbekistan. There are younger people who can innovate for this Muslim market, because it's still a new market. There are many things that can be coming from startups and entrepreneurs to help Muslim market, not only in Uzbekistan, but even outside of Uzbekistan, because it's a new market. So I think overall impact, both in terms of jobs, in terms of revenue for the country, but also developing SMEs and developing innovation and in entrepreneurship.
The next question is from, it's in Uzbek. Assalamu alaikum.
Saeed?
Yeah, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Assalomu alaykum. Toshkent shahridan Jamoliddinman. Savolim quyidagicha. Bizning diyorlarni ziyorat qilish uchun asosan musulmonlar kelishadi. Ular uchun halol oshxonalar marshrutini tuzganmisizlar? Bu savolni ekspertga berishimizdan avval bizda hozir aynan ziyorat turizm bo'yicha faoliyat olib borayotgan O'zbekiston musulmonlari idorasi qoshidagi Muslim Tur turistik tashkilotining direktori qatnashyaptilar. Bularga savol bersak, umuman olganda yurtimizga kelayotgan musulmonlarga turistik paketlarni tashkillashtirishda Jahongir aka nimalarga e'tibor berasiz? Misol uchun ya'ni umuman musulmonlarni talablariga javob beradigan xizmatlarni tanlashda qiyinchiliklar bormi, yo'qmi? Biroz qisqa bir o'zingizni tajribangizni aytib o'tsangiz, keyin bu savolni biz ekspertimizga beramiz.
Assalomu alaykum. Albatta savol o'rinli va to'g'ri bo'ldi. O'z navbatida men Muslim Tur korxonasining rahbari ligimdan foydalanib shuni aytishim kerakki, bizni korxona to'g'ridan to'g'ri O'zbekiston musulmonlari idorasiga qarashli bo'lgani uchun O'zbekiston musulmonlari idorasi tomonidan o'tgan yil va undan oldingi yil bu yillar ichida halol standartini tatbiq etish bo'yicha katta ishlar qilindi. Shuni natijasida mana yaqinda To'xtoniyoz ota korxonasiga halol standartlarni sertifikat berdik. Bu ham o'z navbatida shuni ko'rsatadiki, O'zbekistonda halol standartlari bor. Endi halol standarti bo'lguncha avval O'zbekistonda bu oshxonalar yoki yuradigan joylar halol bo'lganmi yoki bo'lmaganmi degan savol ham uyg'onadi. Albatta yo'q, biz O'zbekiston asosiy xalqining asosiy qismi musulmon bo'lganligi uchun oziq-ovqatlar, oshxonalar hammasi har doim halol bo'lgan. Ya'ni chet eldan kelgan musulmon millatiga mansub bo'lgan turistlar hech qachon O'zbekistonga kelib ovqat yeyishda yoki yurishda qiynalishmagan. Endi halol oziq-ovqatdan tashqari yana ularning hojatiga tegishli bo'lgan qilingan ishlar ham juda ko'p. Sababi ko'chalarda, ziyoratgohlarda, masjidlarda ularning hojatini bo'yicha kiradigan xonalar ham ta'mirlanib, to'liq talablarga javob etadigan holatga olib kelingan. Shuning uchun halol oshxonalar, halol yurish, halol turish, hatto mehmonxonalardan ham halol standartlarga javob berishi joriy etilib, bu kunda qiyinchiliklar yo'q.
Tushunarli. Endi savolimizni ingliz tilida Fazal Bahardan javoblarga beramiz. Mr. Fazal?
Yeah.
The question is that how important to have halal kitchen or restaurants while making trips to the destination. I've just changed the question a little bit. So,
yeah.
What is your opinion on the certification and to have the certified halal establishments?
Yeah, yeah. So I think it is, the thing about what you need to understand is that you probably, as locals, we may not understand the importance of that. For instance, if you're a local in Uzbekistan, you know what food is halal. You don't have to worry about a certificate or a sign or something like that, right? You know your Osh places are halal. You have your Uzbek places halal. Maybe these restaurants, maybe they are not halal. So you, as a local, But what happens when a visitor comes to the country? He has no idea, whether this place is halal or this place is not halal. By looking at a certain place, he can't judge whether it's a halal or not halal, or because, and especially when you're a new destination like Uzbekistan, you don't know as a visitor, you don't know. And this is the case in many other Muslim countries as well. Although country may be Muslim majority, but there are many restaurants in a shopping mall that may not be halal. So how, as a visitor, are you going to make it easier for them? Because if you don't make it easier for the visitor, they will have to go around, ask people, find out. So it's more difficult. So that's why. So one thing is I think that is the single most important thing. Second thing, and that's why you need some level of certification or accreditation, and then that can be shown on both on your websites, on your restaurant and things like that, so that Muslims, even before they come, they know, okay, this restaurant is okay, this restaurant is okay. I think that's one. Number two, the food industry is so sophisticated now, and even people who are making food, they don't know what they are using now, especially when it comes to processed food. Of course, if you're buying everything from your local suppliers, it may be okay. But in general, food establishments are very sophisticated, and there are a lot of processed food being used. And most of the processed food, in general, use a lot of things that are not halal. Yeah. So that's why to go through a process of checking everything that you use is halal, is also very important, you know, especially when it comes to processed food. So a number of things. So as I said, one is to make sure that when you say halal, you know it's halal. And as I told you, many people don't know that this is the case because they are using a lot of processed food and they think it is halal. So I think for that purpose, it is good to get a certification and accreditation because these bodies know how to check, how to make sure that these things are halal. Two, for visitors, it becomes much more easier if you have this accreditation so that they don't have to worry about, you know, asking questions or where to find or where not to find. So I think these are at least two important things, I think, to the importance of you know, getting accreditation, getting certification on when it comes to food.
Okay, I see. And then we have one more question, which is very related to this matter. And the question is that we have a hotel that fully facilitates with Muslim travelers' needs. So if we get the crescent rating accreditation or halal certification, will it affect to our normal activity? So what about the other consumers or guests? Does it affect to the not Muslim travelers?
No, definitely not. So basically, when we are looking at crescent rating of hotels, we are only looking at what you provide for the Muslim travelers. So if you are providing, you know, certain things for the Muslim travelers, we look at that only to provide an accreditation or certification. The same hotel may be providing other things to other travelers, and it doesn't matter. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, the reality is that the hotels have been catering to many different types of people over the years, you know. So if you want a European, you have a certain things that you cater for the Europeans. You know, if you want the Chinese, you probably add certain things in your buffet in the morning for breakfast so that you can cater to the Chinese. If you're having Indians, you probably have a vegetarian dish in the buffet in the breakfast. So I think we have been already doing that in the hotels, you know, catering to different types of clients coming into the. So I think it's no different. So, you know, like you are catering to what are the needs of a Chinese traveler, what are the needs of an Indian traveler, vegetarian traveler. You just look at what the Muslim traveler wants and make it easier for them to have that, you know. So I don't think it has any impacts because that's how the industry has been working. You know, we have been, you know, the industry has been catering to different markets for a long time. It's just that when it comes to Muslim market, it's new. Most travel services have not looked at them as a specific segment. And that's what we are trying to say. Look at them as a specific segment and cater to them as well.
Hurmatli teletomoshabinlar, hozir Fazal Bahardin janoblari aynan mehmonxonalarni yoki turistik xizmatlarni, oshxonalarni sertifikatlash kerakmi degan savolga juda batafsil ma'lumot berib o'tdilar. Afsuski bizning vaqtimiz juda chegaralangani uchun har bir savol javobni tarjima qilishga sharoitimiz yo'q. Lekin boshida aytib o'tganimdek, mazkur vebinarni o'zbek tiliga tarjima qilgan holda Turizmni rivojlantirish davlat qo'mitasining rasmiy veb-saytiga va ijtimoiy tarmoqlarga joylashtiramiz. Sizga qiziqtirgan holatlarda bemalol kirib tomosha qilishingiz mumkin bo'ladi. Mr. Fazal, we have just 5 minutes left for broadcasting online through UZREPORT TV. So my last question is, I think it's a very short question. I think it's from the universities. The question is that, do you consider organizing course modules, academic course modules on halal tourism for university students also? Or are you planning to cooperate with universities? Yeah.
So absolutely. So I think bringing the halal tourism specifically, but generally halal consumer market into the academic field in terms of research and education is key. And already many countries are doing that in Malaysia, Indonesia. So already there are master students looking at different aspects of Muslim consumer market, Muslim tourism, halal tourism. So I think this is already happening, and I definitely think that this should be something that Uzbekistan academic institutions should look at, not just halal tourism aspect, but overall Muslim consumer aspects in terms of research, in terms of, you know, even doctoral work. There are PhDs being done in this aspect now in many aspects of the Muslim lifestyle market, and halal tourism is one of them. I think it's absolutely required. I mean, we have been working with some institutions, some universities. We have worked with Murdoch University, one of the top universities in Australia, to do a research project a couple of years ago. So we are now talking to some other institutions as well. So we'll be happy to work with Uzbekistan academic institutions to sort of help them to develop this kind of the curriculums and all that. But I think it's absolutely required that this whole Muslim lifestyle segment becomes part of both education in terms of courses, but also in terms of research.
Thank you. One more question. I think it's regarding the creation of Muslim-friendly tours. How we can organize or create Muslim-friendly tours for Muslim visitors? What should we take into account while creating such kind of tours? So I think the question is regarding the creation of itinerary for travelers. So you've been in Uzbekistan several times, and what you have seen in our travel package and what you have not seen, what is missing in our travel packages?
No, I think Uzbekistan has all the ingredients for a Muslim-friendly tourism because Uzbekistan, by its very nature, is Muslim-friendly. I mean, that's the reality. It's about packaging them into something that can be properly promoted in the market. I think it doesn't. So I think one is that it has all the ingredients. It's about packaging. It's about, as you know, one of the things is, of course, to benchmark those services, make sure that what we are saying is understood elsewhere as halal and all that. But most importantly, it is about marketing these products externally, because as I said, Uzbekistan already is very Muslim friendly. I have been 2-3 times now, and I before I came to Uzbekistan, I never knew what Uzbekistan was, and I know once I came, I tell anybody, you should go to Uzbekistan because it's such an amazing place. So so I think it's important. The most important thing is to build marketing campaigns, promotion campaigns. Of course, there are things that we need to take into account in developing products. But I think it's a longer discussion that I don't think we have time to talk about. But those are, I think, sorry. So I think in terms of Uzbekistan, the most important thing is to package a good balance of showing Islamic heritage of Uzbekistan with some general leisure activities. At the end of the day, we should also have general leisure activities, or making sure these general leisure activities are also Muslim friendly. They are not go beyond the Muslim friendliness of the general leisure activities. But I think you have so much of Islamic heritage that you can easily build these packages.
Hurmatli teletomoshabinlar, UZREPORT telekanali orqali bizga ajratilgan vaqt o'z nihoyasiga yetyapti, lekin bizning vebinarimiz onlayn tarmoqda, ijtimoiy tarmoqda Zoom orqali davom etadi. Bizga vaqt ajratgani uchun UZREPORT telekanalining ma'muriyatiga tashakkurni izhor etamiz. Bizni onlayn Zoom tarmog'i orqali kuzating, vebinarimizni davom etamiz. Xayr, tashakkur.